Hi, and welcome to Sunday with Mike. On today's show, we're going to discuss just how important communications with others can be, various types of tape that we use in our businesses, audio cables and lighting cables, and some odds and ends. So grab yourself a cup of coffee and join me. I'll be right back. So welcome back. I've got my coffee and I hope you have yours. I wanted to discuss the importance of communications when dealing with other vendors and especially subcontractors. It's really easy to have a misunderstanding if one or more or both parties assume the same things that haven't been actually spoken between the two. Take, for example, something that just recently happened to me. My normal go-to DJ wasn't available for a last-minute event that came up, so I reached out to a casual friend who is a fellow DJ who I completely trust to handle my events as one of my subcontractors. He had done some events for me in the past, and everything worked out just fine, so we're going to call him John. So I hired John 2 weeks before the event. I did all of the legwork, all of the prep work, met with the clients, handled everything, created all of the forms, the paperwork he would need for the event, and did everything I could to make this job as easy of a process as I could for him. His main responsibility was to show up on the wedding day and make magic. Since our photo booth staff was going to be at the same event anyway, I had them bring his pay and the background music, which happened to be on one of my MP3 players. So everything pre-event went fine, and John was easy to reach and friendly. At the end of my event, things changed when I sent a text to John. I asked him to give the photo booth staff the stuff back so they could return it, and his reply to me was, quote, "Nope," end quote. So I asked if I missed something, or had they already left, or what did I miss? And he sent a message that he was busy and we would need to talk the following day. Needless to say, when I'm paying someone to do an event for me, this is not the reply that I expected. Something must have gone terribly wrong, but what? I know there were a few surprises that were planned along the way that some of the significant others didn't know. So I waited to hear from John all day on Sunday, and I got no call or explanation. I had no idea if I would be facing an upset client come Monday morning or what exactly was going on. Finally, Monday around noon, we got word from the PB staff that everything went fine as far as they knew, and that he did hand them back the stuff that I needed, the MP3 player and stuff. So this means that the message to me was not only rude, but unnecessary, since he had already given the stuff back to them. Why say nope? Didn't make any sense. So I called the client and had a discussion with them, and they were thrilled with everything and was just as happy as could be. So my issue had to be with John. I sent him a text and asked if he was busy. My phone rang right away, and it was John. He stated right off the bat, "I'm busy, but this will get me out of something that I really didn't want to do anyway." So, you know, a little uncomfortable here. So we began our chat, and to make a longer story shorter, he expected $200 more than what I sent via the PB crew. I had no idea why he would have expected that large of an amount, since it was never discussed. To his defense, I never brought it up either. Not because I was trying to shortchange the guy, but because I was super busy with other events and I trusted him with mine. Since I never want to be, quote, that guy, I agreed to meet him in the middle and give him another $100 so that we split the difference. The moral of this is that no matter how long you've known someone, no matter how many times you've worked together, make sure that both parties have agreed, at least verbally, if not in writing, to what the expected pay is. I normally cover this, but in this particular case, it didn't come up. Everybody was busy, and then it came back to bite me later and cost me $100 more than it should have for this event. But in the end, people and friendships are important. Protect them from stupid misunderstandings.
DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
You know, there are many kinds of tape for you to use on your gigs, but I want to ask you, have you ever really thought about each one's designed uses? What was the tape actually designed for? Let's take duct tape, for example. It started out in life as silver only, and it was made to wrap around cooling and heating ducts, you know, like you see on mobile homes and stuff. That's how it got its name, as duct tape. It was meant to be a permanent installation. It was never meant for taping down your wires across a venue floor, and now duct tape comes in a variety of colors, but it's still duct tape. It uses a really strong adhesive backing that is not designed to be removed. This tape is inexpensive. It runs about $6 a roll and is really cheap for a DJ to use. So now let's take a look at something called gaffer's tape. This tape was designed for the movie stages and theaters and is made to be removed. It has a different type of glue on the backing, and it releases really easily, and very rarely does it cause any damage when removed. This tape also has a dull finish on the color side, and it runs about $18 a roll, so it's much more expensive and harder to find. The last one that I wanted to bring to your attention is something called painter's tape. And as you might imagine, it was designed for professional painters to use on top of painted surfaces to help them get clean edges when they're painting. Afterwards, they would remove the tape for a clean line and no damage to the area where the tape was used. This stuff is inexpensive and can be found at Walmart and just about any home improvement store for about $5 or $6 a roll. So why am I telling you all of this? Well, because you really need to have all three types of these tapes in your toolbox to keep your venues and your clients happy. You will damage the finish on floors and walls if you use duct tape on them. You are wasting money if you use gaff tape on a sidewalk where your wires happen to be crossing. You would use duct tape on the sidewalk, and if you're taping on a wall, you better not grab that duct tape, so spend the extra money and have these proper tools in your toolbox, or in this case, the right tape for the job the next time you need to tape something down. You know, for a long time I thought we were through discussing audio cables versus lighting cables, but I found out just recently that this goes on and on and on. So I'm going to give this another shot, and I hope that I can explain it well enough that you'll get it, and then you'll help me carry this message forward. Be a messenger for this, because it's just getting crazy out there. To fully understand the differences, it would be beyond the scope of this show, because you would really need to spend the better part of about 6 months studying electronic theory to be able to fully understand this stuff. I'll give you a few topics for further reading should you want to take the plunge. You could start by learning more about resistance, impedance, reactance, voltage drops, and signal rejection, just to name a few. This is why we just buy our cables and we're not engineers, right? Because this stuff, it gets really, really deep. So repeat after me. There is a difference between audio cables and lighting cables. You don't need to know why, but please accept this as a fact of life, right? It's just, it is. Just get past it. There is a difference between these two cables. What are some of the key differences? Well, okay, so audio cable is only passing analog audio, not digital data signal streams. So since neither cable does very well at the other one's job, they continue to make both types of cables to this very day. We don't have a single cable that's designed for audio or digital data. It's one or the other. Some people are getting confused and they're saying, well, because it has an XLR connector on the end of it, that makes it a lighting cable. That's not true. The connector it's not the connector that decides what kind of cable it is. It's the cable itself that decides this, not the connector. You could just hardwire it in, either one. You could hardwire an audio cable into a mix panel, or you could hardwire a digital DMX cable. It wouldn't make any difference. The connector is not the issue. The market did not help itself at all when we're talking about connectors, because way back when DMX became a thing, they decided to use a popular connector that was already in existence called an XLR connector. The audio industry was using this. It was 3 pins. It was balanced audio, professional stuff. And so the lighting industry said, well, okay, so to avoid any confusion, we're going to use the same XLR, but it's going to have 5 pins instead of 3. Well, 2 of those pins are not used. Therefore, that still are reserved for future use. So it may be one day down the road that lighting cables do have 5 pins on them. But for now, they're only using 3 of the 5. And since DJ companies already stock a 3-pin XLR, and they're cheaper than the 5-pin units that weren't going to be using all 5 pins anyway, so why not just use the 3 pins that we have? So now we get into this dilemma where we have cables that look the same, they have the same kind of connector, but they may or may not be an audio cable. We don't know. It's hard to tell. So I just need you to understand that it doesn't make any difference if the connector is black, or if the connector is silver, or if it's soldered on, or if there's an XLR at all. It makes no difference whatsoever, right? It's the cable itself that makes the difference between audio and data, and they're not the same. One's digital, one's analog. The next thing you need to know is that some clueless joker who doesn't have any lighting cables in his arsenal, but decided to buy a few lights, and then he plugged in the only cables that he had, which were audio cables, and wow, it worked. So therefore, he's concluded that there couldn't possibly be any difference in the lighting world, is just trying to rip you off. This is not true. There is a difference, and it will come back to bite you sooner or later one day, especially as you add more and more fixtures, because the error will start adding up. If it's an emergency and you had a cable failure and you just needed to get through an event, sure, grab that audio cable and let it help you get through it. But don't design a lighting system without using the proper cables, because that would just be foolish. The only way that you can tell by looking at a cable if it's really a DMX data cable would be that if it had a 5-pin XLR connector on each end. Welcome back. I wanted to go back over some things that we've been told over the years and get your feedback. I need you to tell me what you think about this. Many years ago, we were told that blogs would help your search engine results, and for the most part, that seemed to hold up. However, recently, when we went to a convention, the word now is that Google doesn't really care so much about your blog, and it's being depreciated, and it doesn't really help you as much as it used to. It's on its way out. If you do it now, then you might want to consider quitting in the future. And if you don't blog, then don't bother getting started, is my vote. We were all told that we needed a presence on Pinterest to attract new brides. My wife has been posting pictures on Pinterest for about 4 years now. And the other day, I thought about this and I asked her, and neither one of us can think of a single client that signed up as a result of anything that we posted on Pinterest. It seems to be useless for the DJ world. So what are your results? Have you found a way to make Pinterest work for your DJ business to attract clients, not the ones you already got signed up, but to attract new business? And then the last one I want to mention is Snapchat. Again, this seems to be more of a, hey, look at me, I'm cool, instead of something that will actually attract business to your company. So there are many others out there that we haven't even begun to look at. So here's my question for you. Has blogs, Pinterest, or Snapchat ever gotten the credit for you getting a single gig or more? And if so, I want to hear about it. Please share your comments. I'm trying to learn, because my vote on these three is thumbs down. We don't need them in our lives. They don't really help us. So why waste the time? So if you were paying someone to write your blogs, post your pictures to Pinterest, and play around on Snapchat, would you fire them based on what they're bringing into the table in the way of performance? I would have to say yes, but I can't wait to see your comments in the comment section on this one. So that's going to be our show for today. Please share the show with your friends. Give me your thoughts about anything in the show in the comments section. And don't forget to give us a thumbs up. I'm saving a seat for everyone in the Sunday with Mike Facebook group. And don't forget that starting in February, we're going to take topic ideas from anybody that's in the group. You have to be a member of the Sunday with Mike group. And whoever gives us the best idea for the month of February is going to get some swag at the end of the month. So a hat and a coat, a shirt, and some other stuff. So just know that there's good stuff coming. I'll get the details from John from the Disc Jockey News to exactly what it is. But your topic idea could get you some cool stuff free in the mail. So join our group, and I'll see you next week.